bring in Erik Spoelstra, Miami Heat head coach. Erik, I want to ask you this first. You had an opportunity last week to attend the SI swimsuit party, and you elected to instead coach your team against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Do you have any regrets about that decision?
Mannix, do you work or do you just go to all these incredible events around the States?
Opinions vary.
We're all working and while we're earning a buck doing our profession, you're out there just partying around and reporting on the scene.
Opinions vary.
But it's classic. This is what we're starting, this first question out of the box, huh?
When was the last time you took a day off?
I took a day off on Friday when we came back from the West Coast trip.
Now, is that a complete day off? You don't go into the office, or do you still do a little bit of work?
I did a little bit of work. It was at home, and I ran probably half a day at least of errands. We've been on the road for about 3 weeks, so when I finally got back into work at my office here on Saturday, it had been over 20 days since I'd been in that office.
Look, Erik, all I'm saying is that Don Nelson, back in the day, he ceded control of his team to an assistant coach. You could have called in sick. You could have given David Fizdale a chance, and you could have come back to Miami a couple of days early to attend the party.
I know. I should have.
It's a long.
I got to rework that into my planning in the future.
It's a long season, Erik. I'm just saying you got to give yourself a break every now and then.
Actually, Fizz probably would have said, no, he needs a day off, and then he could have gone.
He's Erik Spoelstra, Miami head coach, joining us here on the Dan Patrick Show. How's LeBron's nose?
It's good. It's gotten. He's made a lot of progress over the last couple of days. We wanted to hold him out yesterday. We'll reevaluate him today, but we don't play until Thursday, so we felt the smartest thing to do. He took a shot. I mean, that took quite a long time for it to stop bleeding. Had to get it fixed on Friday. He looks better. Feels better, and we'll see how he's feeling today.
What's the, I don't know what the threshold for pain, but what is the criteria when you're sitting a guy out with a broken nose? Is it how broken it is? Is it how much pain the guy's in at the time?
Yeah, a little bit of the pain and how long the bleeding lasts. And then, quite frankly, our schedule was part of it. He wants to play. He wants to be out there anytime that he possibly can. So we had to sit him down and just say that this is the plan, and we think it's best. We'll reevaluate him today. He'll even get fitted for a mask that he may or may not wear. And because of the 4 days in between, we just felt it was smartest.
You had an open spot for a big man this offseason. You elected to sign Greg Oden for that spot. How much thought or consideration was given to bringing in Jason Collins while you were looking for that extra big man?
He was on our board, but when we had the opportunity to get Greg, that was an absolute no-brainer. I was coming back from Vegas from Summer League, and we had played until June 21st and had a few days off where we prepared for the draft and then straight to Summer League. So to give you an idea, we pretty much went all the way through, and we were starting to get a little bit burned out, but there was one trip I was not missing, and that was to go visit Greg Oden. And flew straight to Indiana to meet with him face-to-face, and that's what we felt about him and his potential as a former number one pick and at 25 years old. With Collins, I think it's all a matter of the right fit, and he found one with the Nets. He's familiar with Jason, and that's what this league should be about. Can you help a team win? And you know what I found over the years, personnel, staffs and coaches, we are selfish. We are competitive and selfish to try to win. And so whether people will agree with all the decisions or not, they are based on those decisions, whether you think a player can help you.
Was the media circus that would accompany a guy that probably wouldn't play a significant role for you a variable when you were considering Collins?
No, we would add anybody. We're used to every kind of circus now with this group. It doesn't matter, but what he's this signing, with the Nets, it certainly sets a great precedent. That everything is starting to change in culture and open-mindedness and acceptance. It's great for professional sports. You didn't steal the spotlight yesterday with starting Greg Oden, but it certainly made some news with that decision. Why did you decide to start him in that game yesterday? Well, probably people made a little bit too much of that, and I get it. I understand that it's a noticeable thing when you start him. He's available to give us those type of minutes right now, and we could have gone 2 or 3 different ways. When we don't have LeBron, it's tough to figure out how we'll work the rotation, and because it was the Bulls and because of their size and physicality, and sometimes where they've in the past have hurt us on the glass and in the paint, we decided to start a little bit big. It worked yesterday. I'm just happy for him that he's been able to get out there and help us and contribute after everything he's been through. I don't think many people can really relate to what he's gone through with the repeated injuries and having something that he loves taken away from him for 4 straight years, and then to do so much of his work behind the scenes for the last year and a half, even before he got to us, just to put himself in a position to possibly have another opportunity. It's really commendable. We're just happy for him. When you see him out here with a smile on his face, and it keeps things in perspective, I think, for other pro players, for our guys, it has. Some of the things that become a little bit monotonous for pro athletes, the day-to-day things every single day that sometimes you get tired of, you take for granted. He absolutely will do anything to do any of those things. Drills and defensive drills, film sessions, practices, shoot-arounds, all that. He can't get enough of it because he knows what it feels like when it's taken away.
He's Erik Spoelstra, Miami Heat head coach, joining us here on the Dan Patrick Show. Scale of 1 to 10, Erik, how much does LeBron James want to win the MVP?
I don't know. You know what, Chris? You would have to ask him. It's not something he talks about. It's not something we talk about. Well, the only thing I've ever brought up with him this year was the Defensive Player of the Year, and that was at the beginning of the year. I don't know if he puts that up on his mirror. He knows that the level that he's playing at, it's a rare air up there, and he knows that he has to play at that type of level to give us a chance to play for a title. And nothing's guaranteed, but if he's not playing at that level, we're likely not in that contention. He has to do it at both ends, and when we say 1 through 5 defensively, we mean 1 through 5, and offensively, he's had to reinvent himself to be able to make this group work. And I think he's done that fabulously well.
It looks like, though, from the outside looking in, that he has really ramped it up over this last month or so. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, and he always tends to do that at this time of the year anyways. It's not an excuse. He's also starting to get healthier now. He had a few nagging injuries at the beginning of the year, but that's not an excuse. He wouldn't want me to make one for him, and I'm certainly not making one for him. But as you start to get to the All-Star break and past that, all players now start to see the light at the end of the tunnel, and it gets very competitive. Everybody's starting to jockey for playoff positioning, and when you're a true competitor, and we have a lot of them in our locker room, this time of year brings out that type of spirit. You want to play these games because they don't not only mean something, but for the other team, they're coming in, bringing in their best effort, and those are great games to be involved in.
You are now entering that stretch run where the playoffs are within sight. That finals run, potential finals run, is within sight. Now, looking back on the last couple of months, in what ways was it difficult to keep these guys motivated during a season where they're competing for maybe their 4th straight finals trip, maybe their 3rd straight championship?
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily use those terms because our guys are motivated. You have to have a motivated locker room and motivated pros, the guys that love to compete, love to play the game. Are you going to be playing at your extreme highest level, Game 7, all the way through? Well, that might not be realistic. We don't give them that crutch. But to be able to contend multiple years, you have to have those type of guys. And early in the season, we were going through some rotation shifts, and Dwyane being out from time to time, other guys having some injuries. So I don't think it was necessarily lack of motivation. We were just trying to figure things out, and that's what the regular season is for, is to get better, to improve, but also to work through some of the adversities you have to go through, the inevitable injuries, the inevitable tough losses, times where you're not playing necessarily well. And we were trying to figure it out and work to get better. I think Dwyane has been getting healthier and better, particularly these last couple of weeks. So we like the direction the team has been going, and we still hope that in the next 6 weeks that we can get to another couple levels, because we'll need to. The competition has gotten very tough. There's some teams playing a lot better. We know about the Indianas, but also in the rest of the Eastern Conference, you're starting to notice some other teams starting to put it together.
Is this as healthy as Dwyane Wade's been all season?
He's had some times where he's feeling good, and the only thing we're concerned about, Chris, is that he's able to stick with the routine, where he's strength training, corrective exercises, conditioning, all the work that he has to do behind the scenes. And he laughs about it all the time now because he remembers when he was 23, 24, and you could just go out and play, roll the ball out, and your body felt great. But now he puts in so much time really to work on his health, and that's commendable for an athlete, and that's part of the reinvention. And he's been getting stronger. He feels great. You can see it with the quick twitch and the athleticism, and he'll still continue to work. This is a great week of work that he's planning on today, tomorrow, and Wednesday before we get to Thursday.
Do you need me to send you the dates for next year's swimsuit party in advance?
Send them to the staff, and we'll work it out. I'm sure the rest of my staff would love to take the time off to get out there.
What if I told you only have 1 + 1? Who would it be?
That's a tough one.
I'd
have to give that some thought. I'd have to give that some thought.
Oh, some thought. The coach speak right there. Some thought to your +1. Come on, man.
I would bring Dan Craig. He's on my staff, and he's in the dungeon 20 hours a day. He never sees the day of light, so I'm sure he would enjoy that.
Taking care of the fellas. Well, Erik, thanks for the time, man. I really appreciate it.
Okay, Chris. Talk to you soon.
It's Erik Spoelstra, Miami Heat head coach here on the Dan Patrick Show.